Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is No Dust here, and we are going to hop right back in to our budget rogue ladder climb. So last time I did a lot of paladin brawling, just to get a couple of quests done. I re-rolled the quests just before starting up this video. Not so much luck with the rogue stuff or the generic questy stuff, but you know, them's the breaks. Let's just see how we go with this next couple of games, 3 or 4 games, and if they go well, you know, I'll be happy. If they don't go well, then I plan to make some changes to the deck. I think that we've been sitting at rank 16 for a while now, and that we got to 15 and then we dropped back to 16. So there's something, there's a certain quality of deck that we're seeing around 15, 16 that we can't seem to get past. So I will spend maybe about 10 minutes towards the end of this video just talking about some deck changes, making some deck changes and having it ready so I can pilot the deck next time. Just thinking aloud there. I think that's how I'm going to run things, I think. Yeah. Now, having said that, I'll think seriously about deck changes throughout this video. Now, the Deckhand isn't great. What were I to replace the Deckhand with something? What would it be? Okay, that's fine. Like, Deckhand is great. Southsea Deckhand is great with oil, but is a pretty low value 1-drop overall. Do I have Clockwork Gnome? That's the question. I might need to craft the Clockwork Gnome. I'm a pretty big fan of Clockwork Gnome, and what Clockwork Gnome does... I think I just fan here. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll hold the weapon. What Clockwork Gnome does is... it's not as useful with oil, but it gives you a spare part, and that's really helpful to get as a rogue at the start of the game. So you start to be able to combo things, and I think this is a Secrets Pally. Yeah, this is a Dr. Six Pally. A swing and see what happens. Okay. Interesting. I'll develop the Auto Barber. I was thinking of hey, Repentance is fine here. It's not too bad. Auto Barber already got value. You want to probably run your Creeper or your weapon into this. Yeah, the issue, we're not running into any issues here. The main issue will be when the Dr. 6 comes down. Although we do have the MCT in hand, which will come in handy. I think I'm feeling an avenge. What do I do in the case of avenge?
Feed the fish like
I'm feeling an avenge. Avenge landing on the creeper, is that bad? Makes it +3/+2, makes it a 4/4. That's not too bad. Avenge landing on this makes it a 5/4. 4/4. Yeah, that's fine. Makes it a 4/4. That's not too bad. And I can weapon up, get value from my Buccaneer. Not really worth a flurry here. The flurry definitely can work though. And this also sets up a nice MCT if he overdevelops the board. Okay, the cog, interesting. This is going to be worth... may well be worth... an Assassinate? Maybe, maybe not. That cog hammer is interesting. Is it worth an Assassinate to turn that into 2 1/1s? Is there a Dr. 6 on the way? That's the issue. If there's a Dr. 6 on the way and I assassinate this, but if I don't assassinate this, I'll probably lose anyway. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do that. It gets rid of a lot of things. And yep, we should be clearing the dudes. Yeah, the issue is that there'll be a Doctor 6 on the way. With a deck like this, you're running so many secrets, and he obviously drew into a number of secrets leading up to this turn. There's a Doctor 6 on the way. Yep, as expected. Now, there is a chance that I get to MCT all this nonsense. But not quite yet, I don't think. I'll get this to catch the... Oh, there's no repentance. Interesting. I think I play defensively here. I don't know if this is the correct play. There don't tend to be a lot of Secrets Pallies running around these days. But I think the defensive play is correct here, setting me up for the MCT. Yeah, I think so. What I really would have liked in hand would have been Sap. Okay, the Earthen Ring is nice. Okay, Knife Juggler, this is really good. The Blade Flurry allows me to deal with the knife juggling nonsense. Okay, that's a second. That's a second thingamabob. I may need to weapon up to kill whatever. You know what? I run in first to proc the get down and the redemption and the. This gives me avenge. Yeah, that's a little bit of an issue. The redemption comes out. Yep. Now I get to MCT here, but do I MCT here or do I Sunwalker? I think I have to Sunwalker. Yeah, I have to Sunwalker. Blade Flurry. MCT is a little too greedy. If I don't steal the right thing with MCT, I would have been dead. If I stole anything except the Mysterious Challenger, I would have been dead. But this blocks the 10 damage to face for one turn, and I can always run the MCT next time. If I find a Sap, okay. So this is a little bit worrying, but you know, them's the breaks. I think that I'm going to have to Sap the Challenger. Because the Tyrion can't kill me. There's no Sap anyway, I'm dead. Well played. How could I have won that game? How could I have played that game better? So, we lost to a Doctor 6. Doctor 6 got value. I mean, that's usually the win condition of a Secrets Pally. The Doctor 6 got value. How I would have countered that big Doctor 6 is with BGH. But I don't have BGH. Huh. Okay. So what is my answer to Doctor 6? High value Doctor 6. Probably Assassinate or a Sap. Probably best thing is I needed a Sap. Need a Sap versus buffed Pally minions. Assassinate is better versus buffed Doctor 6. Yeah, I think that's generally the case. And I'll note down that the Deckhand probably should go. It's a good card, it's a fast card, but it's just a little too low value. I like more value in my early game. Yeah, okay, let's hop into the next game. Yeah. Secrets Pally, you know, it's hit and miss sometimes with this deck. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's just the way Hearthstone is. Okay, let's queue up. Okay, against the Warrior, I don't think I want any of this. MCT, like, yeah, I want a better 3-drop. I want Scarlet Crusader. This isn't much better, but we'll see how it happens. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. Interesting how some of the... Oh, this is good. Exactly what I was looking for. This sort of hand, you need to have a 1-drop. I mean, you need to top deck into a 1-drop, otherwise you've basically lost. Okay... I might as well swing here because I don't have any clear turn 3 plays. I could coin Argus. It's not great. I think that coin Argusing isn't. It does not much better than just weaponing up again and gaining a 2/2 weapon. Okay, shield block. That's fine because I get to clear your armor again this turn. I could also coin Senjin. Coin Senjin into coin Argus. That's not bad actually. I think I will do that. I mean, coin Senjin into Argus is not bad. What if he clears one of my guys with a weapon, like, or with a cruel task? Then I think I save the coin. This is playing out like a fatigue warrior. He's going to have a lot of removal. Let's force removal. Like, let's force him to spend removal on this little guy. Yeah? I think that's the way to play against the fatigue warrior. Yeah, this is like a stay alive forever fatigue warrior. Interesting. Interesting. Shuffle the map of the Golden Monkey into. I don't even know what that does. But that's fine. I mean, you know, I gained a little bit more value from the weapon. Got an extra 2 damage charge. There's the Death Spite. The Death Spite doesn't directly challenge my Senjin. He's going to have to run the Elise into it also. So that's fine. Meaning... Oh, actually, I could just run this in. Run this in and then develop Shadow Pan. Yeah, let's do that. Or I could coin... No, because I was thinking is there a way for me to weapon up whilst also developing the Shadow Pan? Not at the moment. I think that I run this in, given that my opponent has a Death Spite in hand. The Death Spite doesn't challenge my Shadow Pan because of the high health. So that's actually an interesting thing to note down. Versus Warrior, Death Spite isn't great against high health 5 drops. Okay, that's interesting. You've got just a car in there. I think what I do is Southsea Argus. Run this in. And we're okay. Yeah, this is definitely a fatigue warrior, so I'm going to want to save. I think versus fatigue. Fatigue warrior. Be conservative with developing the board versus brawl. I reckon this deck would run double brawl. Shredder. I think I'm going to sap the Shredder. I think. Am I sapping the Shredder? Yes. Yes. And I will develop my... I'm going to be conservative on the board. I won't push unless there's a clear takedown. But I can't get lethal next turn, so I'm not going to develop anymore. I think 2 minions on the board is maximum. I want you to have to brawl this. Or I want you to have to spend premium removal on these guys. I think that's the name of the game until we draw into oil. Okay. I don't know what that does. I think I should know what that does. I just don't. Okay. Sprint. Yep, sprint. Okay. I will coin out the Undercity. Do we clear this? Yes, we do. Because the warrior has so much efficient removal, you want to clear their minions so that they're forced to clear your minions using removal. Spend that removal. Okay, that's fine. Are you going to shield slam me? Cursed Blade. Interesting. Are you serious? I want that Cursed Blade to stay up. Kraken will do 8. I think I play defensively. I do want to clear this thing though. I think actually that I just develop Kraken. I will swing face to force you to armor up to shield slam. And that was one Yeah. So you're gonna have to armor up before shield slamming this Kraken. And if you're gonna execute or BGH, you know, that's a little unfortunate, but these things happen. These things happen. I don't know why you would run Cursed Blade in this deck. It sort of runs counter to the whole point of... Now there's nothing for me to protect. So I will just develop Scarlet Crusader. And again, I'm saving my hand. I don't want to push you until we get really close to lethal. Discover a powerful. What the hell is that? Battlecry, discover. Interesting. So this is like an artifact fatigue warrior. Never seen this before, but I mean, obviously with the League of Explorers Final Wing just shipped. I'll put a link in the show notes. The Final Wing just shipped, so there's obviously a number of things that have come into the game. Okay, it's fine. I think actually I'll develop Loot Hoarder. I just keep pressuring, but I don't overcommit. If the issue against Warrior is you overcommit into Brawl, and then you lose. The Brawl gains heaps of value. In a 2 minion board, on a 2 minion board, Brawl goes 1 for 1. Interesting. That's going to be really slow. That's going to be really slow. So the Golden Monkey key equals all legendaries, which means you have no more. You don't have Brawl anymore. You have no more Brawl, so I'm going to go for it. Let me just reread that. Oh my god. I think it was replace your hand and deck with legendary minions. Let's do this. So now I'm going to overcommit because you no longer have Brawl in your hand or your deck. Your legendary cards are all minions. They're all going to be really slow. That's fine. I do not care. I could not care less about your Myexna. Yep, sure. So the Golden Monkey is actually really dangerous to play on yourself. Well played. Interesting deck. I like the gumption. But you know, he screwed himself with the Golden Monkey. Don't play Golden Monkey until you're in a suitable position to finish out the game. It's sort of like, it seems like a win more card because filling your hand with legendaries, there are no legendary spells, there are only legendary minions. The best thing you could have gotten there is Deathwing. So I needed to watch out for Deathwing, but yeah, if you've gotten Deathwing in one of his hand, as one of his cards, and I don't know, I wonder. So I'll put a link in the show notes for Golden Monkey. I wonder. So as a question, I wonder if you can get double of one legendary from the Golden Monkey Battlecry. So say for example, is it possible to have is it possible for my warrior's hand, the warrior opponent's hand, to be 5 Deathwings, and then their deck is also 5 Deathwings? I wonder. Okay. I don't think I want... Sap is useful against innovated stuff, but I think I still prefer to top deck it. I still prefer to be... I don't know, let me just note that down. Worth keeping Sap versus Druid in case of innovate shenanigans. I wonder if it's worth keeping Sap against Innovate Shenanigans. Although I do have Eviscerate, and Eviscerate is almost as good against Innovate Shenanigans. So you innovate out a Druid of the Claw, backstab Eviscerate will deal with that quite neatly. And I think Sap is generally better late game as a tempo play, whereas Eviscerate is like, you know... Sap is better used on late game minions that cost 5 or... Not 5, I think 6 mana, because... 6 mana, you generally only get 6 mana a turn unless you're a druid or some sort of other silliness. And sapping a 6 mana minion means they'll have to either spend the majority of another turn playing it or not play it at all. And that's what makes sap so powerful. Oh, I like this. I like this. What are you going to pick? A lot of interesting League of Explorers decks running around. It'll be interesting to see what sorts of things we're going to run into. This thing is not worth backstabbing, by the way. Just there's not enough threat there. Saving my backstab. Ideally, you're saving your backstab against aspirants. Aspirates. Interesting. So you've made yourself into a hunter. Interesting. That's his part. Next turn, I can Buccaneer coin weapon up, allow me to deal with a number of things. Okay, egg. Interesting. This is fine. That's another weak point. I think that's another weak point in the deck. So in terms of deck changes, Bloodsail Raider. I think Bloodsail Raider should get swapped out. Perhaps for what though? I'll come back to this once we. I think maybe after we finish this game, I'm going to start thinking about Bloodsail Raider. Okay. Interesting. I think I clear this first. Like, this is not a threat. But getting a freebie clear on the Raptor and then dealing with that's fairly good to deal with. Yep. Okay, that's fine. And if the Finley clears my Buccaneer, I get a free clear. I mean, I can use my knife to finish it off, so that's not too bad. Seems like some sort of Death Rattle Druid, but you don't have Unearthed Raptor. Unearthed Raptor being the Death Rattle rogue-based card, which allows you to copy a Death Rattle. Say it's a rogue 3-drop, 3/4/3/4. Copy a friendly minion's Death Rattle. So in this case, I would have played it on turn 3 and copied the Egg's Death Rattle. But I don't know how useful that is. Anyway, let's get back to thinking about what I should replace Bloodsail. I think probably interesting. It's fine. I have an eviscerate for this thing. I have an eviscerate for what pops out of this thing, so that's fine. Everything gets challenged by the Finley. That's fine. You spent a Mark of the Wild to activate your egg. So it was actually a 2-for-1 egg. I mean, I spent a weapon charge, took a bit of damage, and an eviscerate to deal with a Mark of the Wild and Nerubian egg. I think that trade is fairly even. The issue is my health, because Druid here has picked Hunter's Hero Power. So there is a clock on the game. But if I manage to draw into healing, I think we'll be okay. Yeah. Okay. So what do I swap out Bloodsail? I think probably Auto Barber or Valiant, or even an Ooze. We're not running into a large number of. I think Auto Barber or Valiant or Eviscerate. I've been saying that we could use a second Eviscerate in this deck. Okay, is this worth backstabbing? I think it is, because it sets up Deckhand Argus next turn, and I don't swing because I have oil in hand. I've learnt that lesson from last time. So next turn I could either Deckhand Argus or Deckhand Oil and deal a ton of damage. Not that it's relevant right now because my opponent is at full health, but it's still good to consider for, I guess, if the big minion comes out, if something like an Ancient of War, although it's at 6 mana, so 6 mana isn't a huge turn for a Druid. 7 mana is, so I may want to save that combo for 7 mana. But we will see what happens. Yeah, so I probably change. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? This costs 5. I could coin. Well, let's do this first, because I'm obviously going to do this. Do I spend the Divine Shield? Spending the Divine Shield makes me weak to Makes me weak to Starfall. Saving the Divine Shield means that, and plus Druid no longer has its hero power, so it's a very. If you consider the so if you're versus a Finley, consider the new hero power, because generally Divine Shield isn't great against Druid, but the new hero power being not he can't aim it at my board. Okay, interesting. You know what? I think I just go aggressive here. Yeah. Okay. We push for a ton of damage. I'm going to force you to dig for some sort of removal, and we have a win condition. That may have been too greedy. Maybe I should have saved the Barber. But are you running Poison Seeds? But even Poison Seeds Starfall combo is 9 mana, so you're gonna need to innovate to Poison Seeds Starfall me. So that's not too bad. I think it was an opportune time to go for the combo. Like, you know, essentially my opponent did hero power on turn 7. That's ridiculous for a druid. You're not meant to, like, there's something wrong with your curve if you're hero powering on turn 7. That's fine, I can deal with that. I think you're still dead, yeah. I think you are still dead, my friend. Yeah. You're very much still dead. Yeah, well played. Yeah, that's the interesting thing about people running, you know, strange decks. They don't know how to pilot them, so they just end up getting killed by straight up decks. Like what I'm running is a straight up deck. I'm not gonna lie about it. It's just a straight up deck, and it's a straight up tempo mid range deck that will kill you with oil flurry or kill you with minion value. And you run these crazy things, and it's fun to run. But it seemed like that druid deck didn't have a win condition. You always keep in mind what your win condition is. Anyway, we've done pretty well this game, but I do feel as if the deck could use a couple of changes. So I did say that I wanted Clockwork. So what I'm going to do, so let's do some deck changes. So I'm going to take out Southsea for Clockwork. Gnome, Clockwork Gnome, and that's a 0 dust game because they are both common cards. So yeah. Clockwork, not a Clockwork Knight, a Clockwork Gnome. Yes, we will craft a Clockwork Gnome. Since I haven't been opening GVG packs anyway, we'll craft a Clockwork Gnome. That's fine. And I also wanted to swap out Bloodsail for perhaps an Eviscerate. How many spells am I running? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spells. That's a lot of spells. Perhaps I'll leave out the second Eviscerate for now. Perhaps I'll run a second Valiant. A second Valiant is good against aggro. Valiant behaves like a Cruel Task. If you combo the Valiant, it's like a super Cruel Task. Cruel Task being a 2 for a 2/2 that deals 1 damage to a minion, but also enrages it, making it more powerful. So Cruel Task has more applications when you're playing an aggressive warrior deck, but Valiant is way more defensive. And Bloodsail, it just doesn't seem like I make a big Bloodsail, and it doesn't really amount to anything. So let me look at my 2-drops. Do I want Barber or Valiant? I think having 2 Barber in hand is a little awkward. You often don't need more than a 2/2 weapon, but having 2 Valiant in hand, like top decking 2 Valiant in a row, is okay because you play the first and you combo the second. That's not too bad. So having said that, I think I will craft the second Valiant. So the Bloodsail comes out, a Valiant, and that's still a 0 dust game because they are both common cards. But let me look at the other common 2-drops. And also, I haven't forgotten that we want SI7s, but so at the moment, I just want to stay within the mana curve. I want my curve to look the same, even though I'm improving the quality, or in my opinion, I'm improving the quality of the deck. So what other 2-drops do we have access to? Let's look here. If I wasn't rarity restricted, as in, you know, if this wasn't a budget deck, I would. Where's Talnos? I'll probably put in a Talnos, but that would also change the deck as well. Talnos is one of the best cards for Rogue, since Rogue has a number of spell power reliant cards, such as Backstab, Flurry, Fan. Thalnos is really good as a combo starter also, and it's, you know, if I had access to Thalnos, I'd replace my Loot Hoarder with it. Although Loot Hoarder itself has some pretty good merits. So, you know, that's the good thing. You know, if you want to put certain cards, you need to make trade-offs. Unless you're putting Dr. 7 into your deck, in which case you make no trade-offs. You just, you know, improving the power of your deck. And actually, I'll put a link in the show notes. Ben Brode recently released a video talking about power creep and what constitutes power creep. And basically, and I encourage you to watch the video yourself, but basically he said that power creep only happens when you make a card that, when it affects the meta. So what do you mean by when it affects the meta? Well, if you change something like Magma Rager, which is 3 for a 5/1, into Ice Rager, which is 3 for a 5/2, people don't play that anyway, so he doesn't classify that as power creep. And I think I sort of agree. But when you make a card like Dr. Boom, and he sort of outright comes out and admits this, Dr. Boom is power creep, because Dr. Boom is in a lot of decks, and there is no alternative to Dr. Boom. Like, you don't run War Golem if you don't have Dr. Boom. You just don't run a 7-drop, or you run Sprint, you know? So he's right there. It's interesting to see that sort of admitting that Dr. Balanced is imbalanced, but is that enough just to talk about how it's imbalanced? Are you intending to do anything? Are you intending to give us some more options? Anyway, and enough preaching. Yeah, I don't really see. I mean, Pyro is a little counterproductive. So talking again about our 2-drop options. Knife, I wouldn't run Knife. Silence there's merits to Silence. Flame Juggler is actually not too bad. I think Valiant. Is the name of the game. So we will be. Are there any other changes that I would make to this? I'll hold off on the changes until I run into them during game. So hold off on changes until I run into problems during matches. So for now, I'll just make the change of the Southsea for Clockwork and Bloodsail for Valiant. So let me find some dust. I'm going to need to find some dust. Yeah, let's do this. And I want to disenchant it all, actually. Anything that I wouldn't keep. Well, let's just find epics. So I actually have an idea of... actually gain an idea of how much dust is at my fingertips. And, you know, these cards I can always recraft them later if I decide to do like a budget mage run, or a budget pally run, or a budget priest run, or nothing in here, nothing I can see. A Tuskar, yeah. I can always card. It's a common card. I'll stash the gold. I'll stash the dust now. And if I come to do a budget shaman run, you know, I'll just spend some of that dust. It's fine. Yep. Second Wild Pyro. Sometimes you do want a Second Wild Pyro. I'll hold the Second Wild Pyro for now, because it's going to cost me 100 dust to craft. It actually doesn't make too much of a difference, because when I disenchant it, I craft a non-golden one for 100 dust, and I don't really care about golden cards. If you see, you know, like, I couldn't care less about whether you have a golden hero back, like, you know, a legend card back, things like that. And second Drake I'll also keep, because sometimes certain decks they call for 2 Drakes. Dragon Priest comes to mind, but I will never be making a Dragon Priest deck using the limitations of my current run. So we have 220 dust to tap into. Okay, so then I will do the change as explained. Bloodsail comes out. Bloodsail is a little bit of a win more card, whereas Valiant is more defensive. So Bloodsail comes out for a Valiant. I'm quite happy about that. And just having a quick look over, I think that's fine. I think the deck at the moment is looking fine. There is an argument to be made for swapping out an Argent or even a Scarlet Crusader for an SI7, but I like Scarlet Crusader. Scarlet Crusader does so much work against mid-range threats such as Shredder. But Shredder these days is getting a little bit worse because of Aspirant and Museum Curator and Lance Carrier. And that's enough talk for today. Let me quickly, before I finish the video, update the deck list. So what am I doing? I need to get back in here and do some screenshot saving. And I will update the deck list. I will disappear into the YouTube vortex and then I'll come back and we'll wrap things up. Okay, welcome back. And it looks as if, let me just double check this. Looks as if our list is looking okay. We've got the Clockwork Gnome here, and we have our second Valiant here. So that's good. I'm happy with the changes. Hopefully we get to re-roll into some other better quests. So let me just show you the abysmal quest RNG that we have. Druid Hunter, Pally Priest, Shaman Warlock. Not great. Like, even if just one of them could have been rogue or generic, would have been nice. But that's okay. We're not actually wanting for any dust, so that's fine, you know? This is just all sitting here waiting for me to perhaps do an arena run, but no, like I said, I'm not going to do an arena run on this. I'm not going to tap into resources that you wouldn't normally have access to as a beginner player. Okay, so thanks for tuning in, guys. I'd like to thank you in advance for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. All of those good things. I do this for the love, and any show of support means a lot to me. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Hope you guys have had a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. This is No Dust signing off. See you next time.